Breaking news coming just now. Joining us this evening, Vice President J.D. Vance. Mr. Vice President, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just seconds ago, the President went to Truth Social and typed this. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Yep.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I want to get to the obliterated part in just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context here. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. He seems confident that this is all coming together.
That's right.
And when you left the White House, were you thinking this was all gelling here?
When I left the White House, I thought that we might be able to get it across the finish line before this broadcast, and it looks like the president has been able to do that. I mean, look, he's been working the phones constantly. Frankly, before the 12-day war.
Why, though? Why? Why are they coming to a ceasefire? We just blew 3 of their facilities. They spent years probably and lots of money to do these facilities for their nuclear weapons. And us going over there and destroying them and saying, hey, you need to come to the table and have peace, Iran all of a sudden is going to say, yes, we agree to a ceasefire with Israel. We're missing some information here. I don't know about you guys, but we're missing some information. I still feel like this country should still be on high alert because of the sleeper cells in this country. There's people that do not agree with what the United States did to Israel, being involved in what or to Iran, in what Israel and Iran have been going at it for the past couple days. Is there more? Let's check it out.
Started, but certainly over the past 12 days, the president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future. And look, this is a great thing. For Israel, think about this. They've accomplished an important military objective. They've helped us destroy the Iranian nuclear program. They've also destroyed the conventional missile capability of Iran that threatened the country of Israel. For the Iranians, I think this is a new opportunity to actually pursue the path of peace. As I said yesterday, what the Iranians have showed through their support of terror networks, through their now failed effort to build a nuclear weapon, is that they're just not very good at war. And I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal. I actually think when we look back, we will say the 12-day war was an important reset moment for the entire region.
Would you be surprised?
If I was the president of the United States, I would say, okay, yes, this is a full reset on the country of Iran. However, because of the threats of the leadership of Iran, they all need to step down because their policy has been death to America. It's been said, it's already been proven. There's already video out there showing the leader of Iran saying the policy of their country is death to America. That is a long and everlasting threat that the Americans should never just ignore. In my opinion, there needs to be more. There's something missing here. I don't believe this ceasefire to be the solution to what's going on.
Surprised if Iran is sending out signals that it doesn't have a specific ceasefire plan, how would the communication have been with the Iranians to get this level of confidence to put out that detailed
Good
statement?
question.
Well, one of the things I've learned, Brett, about the Iranians in the past, 4 or 5 months that I've been in this job is what they say publicly and privately can sometimes be very different. I think what the Iranians have shown very clearly is they don't want this war to go on for much longer. Their air defenses have been totally destroyed. Their conventional missile program has been largely destroyed. And of course, their nuclear program has been obliterated, as I said before. So I think the Iranians are at a place where they don't want to keep on fighting. You saw the president, and I don't have the truth in front of me, but he talked about the next 6 hours
Right.
finalizing the attacks. I mean, I think what he's talking about is right now, for the American people watching, it's dark over there. That's typically when the Israelis and the Iranians have been shooting at each other. I think there's some recognition that that might continue for another few hours, and tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program, and I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East.
So you said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before us. The question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons grade level, and can they convert that fuel to a nuclear weapon? And we know, based on the success of our mission, of course, the leadership of the president, but the incredible skill of our military, that the 2 mission objectives are completely successful. We know that they cannot build a nuclear weapon. Now, you asked about the highly enriched uranium.
Yeah, like 900 pounds of it.
But what we know, Brett, is that uranium is something that exists in very large supply. Our goal was to bury the uranium, and I do think the uranium is buried, but our goal was to eliminate the enrichment and eliminate their ability to convert that enriched fuel into a nuclear weapon. I think this is an important point, Brett, because so many of the folks who have focused on the highly enriched uranium,
Sure, 60%.
the main focus, Brett, has been to destroy their enrichment capacity, because we don't want that 60% uranium to become 90% uranium. That's the real concern, and that's what was so successful about our mission.
So okay, if he says all this, this is kind of equivalent to saying, okay, we have a criminal out here on the streets. They're threatening people in the neighborhood that they're gonna kill everybody in the neighborhood. We have a reason to believe that they are creating weapons in their basement, trying to, with the intentions of what they're saying, that they're gonna carry out what their threats are. So somebody in the neighborhood decides to go bomb their basement or go to their basement and destroy everything in their basement to make sure that individual doesn't carry out his threats. That's equivalent to what's going on with these countries in the situation. Is that right of somebody in our neighborhood to take action to help save everybody in the neighborhood just because we have a threat from this neighbor? I mean, I don't know. This is a very gray area, because then that gives every country in the world to say the same thing about our country. They can say they have a reason to believe if we have a threat on some country, that gives them automatic permission to come attack us. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't like where this is going, because I still have yet to hear exactly why Iran would even consider doing a ceasefire, especially since just a few hours ago we got reports that they attacked a U.S. airbase in Qatar. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. I don't know.
After all this, if the Iranian government survives as is, what's to stop it from rebuilding over time if they, in fact,
Good
move
question.
the 60% highly enriched uranium?
Exactly.
That's the concern.
No, the big concern, Brett, and this is again what we destroyed, is their ability to enrich uranium. If they have 60% enriched uranium, but they don't have the ability to enrich it to 90%, and further, they don't have the ability to convert that to a nuclear weapon, that is mission success. That is the obliteration of their nuclear program, which is why the president, I think, rightly is using that term. But here's the question. If Iran is desperate to build a nuclear weapon in the future, then they're going to have to deal with a very, very powerful American military again. Our hope is that the lesson that the Iranians have learned here is, look, we can fly a bunker buster bomb from Missouri to Iran completely undetected without landing once on the ground, and we can destroy whatever nuclear capacity you build up. I think that lesson is what's going to teach them not to rebuild their nuclear capacity.
Yes.
But lessons get learned, and now the criminal knows how we did it. So they're going to be more prepared and figure out ways to prevent that from ever happening again.
Yesterday, were you speaking on the president's behalf when you said he was not interested in regime change?
Well, Brett, what I've said is the American military, that is not our mission as regime change. Our mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities and the nuclear program of Iran, which we, of course, did. I think what the president's also said is that the Iranian people want to make a decision about regime change. That's between the Iranian people and the regime. Of course, we support freedom fighters all around the world, but our mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities, and that's what we did.
So you don't think there's any mixed message when he goes to Truth Social and says it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Miga.
Well, I think what the president is saying very clearly, Brett, is if the Iranian people want to do something about their own leadership, that's up to the Iranian people. What the American national security interest here is very simple. It's to destroy the nuclear program. That's what we've done. And now that the 12-day war appears to be effectively over, we have an opportunity, I think, to restart a real peace process. And Brett, this is not just about two countries, Iran and Israel. All of these Gulf Arab states, they want peace, they want to invest, they want to build artificial intelligence hardware, they want to sort of come into the new economy. And that was impossible when you had Iran that was, as the president said, acting like a bully across the Middle East. We really think.
What exactly is the United States offering for peace? Don't do that or we'll bomb you? That's not how you offer peace with another country. Instead, that's going to trigger them to back down and secretly rebuild to future attacks. I haven't heard one time about trying to seek peace with Iran if that's the true intentions. He kept saying Trump wants the objective is to make sure they don't have the nuclear capabilities. Yes, we've heard that many times. But why aren't we hearing about peace talks with the actual leader? If there's going to be no peace, that means they're just going to rebuild, and this is going to happen again in a few years. Or who's to say that they're 100% sure that they eliminated all the facilities? Maybe they had some stashed in different places in the country. Man, there's just way too many questions.
That if the Iranians are smart about the path forward, this could be a new dawn of an economic age of prosperity, of course, for our Gulf Arab allies, for us, for the Israelis, for everybody. But it's going to require the Iranians play it smart from here.
The president called it very weak, the Iran missile firing on the U.S. base in Qatar, Al Udeid. Was it a face-saving move? How do you get from that, firing missiles at a U.S. base, to a ceasefire, as he details in this Truth Social?
Well, as the president said, they actually gave us some warning here. And we think they gave us some warning because they didn't want to kill Americans and they didn't want to escalate. There's definitely some symbolism to this, Brett. If you look at the Iranian attack, it was 14 missiles that they telegraphed ahead of time. We dropped 14 bunker buster bombs. As the president told me earlier, our missiles, our bombs were a little bit bigger than their bombs. Our bombs actually accomplished the goal of eliminating their nuclear program. But look, we're happy, again, to restart the peace process as the president just did today.
Was the message delivered directly to the U.S. or through an emissary?
The message is always delivered through some sort of intermediary. That's been consistently true of the Iranians. Of course, we'd love to talk to them. The president's been clear about this. We'd love to have a direct conversation about how we move this thing forward because, again, we got to step back here. Why did the president do what he did over the past week? It's so that we could destroy their nuclear program. If they try to rebuild it, they're going to be on the wrong end of American power once again. We don't want that. I think they don't want that, but the ball's in their hands.
Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, but this is crazy. Israel, Iran, shooting at each other. The United States stepped in, said originally gave them 60 days for Iran to come to the table, talk to peace terms, ceasefire. They didn't want to. They kept saying death to America, death to Israel, saying all these threats. Trump said, well, 60 days passed. I'm going to give you guys another 2 weeks. Second day into the 2 weeks, decides to go over there and bomb 3 of their nuclear facilities to stop them from achieving their goals. And now Iran attacks our U.S. air base in Qatar, and all of a sudden there's a ceasefire. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. We'll keep an eye on what's to come. Till next time, peace out, everybody.